Hometown Murder Tour is a true crime podcast for entertainment purposes only, assuming you find us entertaining.
That being said, stories of violence, sexual assault, and other criminal acts will be discussed, using adult language. Consider this your warning.
Just living my dream. Yep.
Well.
Hey guys,
Hi.
This is Hometown Murder Tour.
Yes.
I'm Amy.
I'm Sarah.
And this is the first time I think we're actually recording the day of.
Yes.
We're going to release. We've never really done that.
It's more because we sort of failed to do it prior.
Right. We always try to do it at least a little bit ahead of time so we can kind of be on it and have it released. But this is going to be like hot off the press.
Almost like live radio.
Almost.
But actually not.
Right.
At all.
Right. So this is another Hometown Murder episode.
Mm-hmm.
We will be doing a little bit more of a high-profile one.
Yes.
Just in the sense that there was a Dateline episode over it. A lot of people knew it made national news. I think like the Washington Post had an article about it. So it's a bit more high profile. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Yes. And don't worry, we did get our coffee.
Yes, we did.
So we are set. We went to the Dancing Mule.
Yeah, what'd you get?
Oh my gosh, you guys. You have to go. Okay, so this time it's hot out, okay, 90 degrees, and I just needed something super refreshing. So they have a nitro cold brew over vanilla ice cream. You guys.
Delicious.
It's amazing.
Yep.
So not only am I going to have some serious caffeine pulsing through my veins, I'm going to have
ice cream going on,
I
too.
got some serious sugars. I got the sugars.
Got the sugars.
Yeah. So, go to Dancing Mule.
Yes,
They're not even paying us for this, guys.
They're not. Free advertising for Dancing
and what'd
Mule
you get,
Coffee.
Amy?
I am playing a little bit healthier because I'm a better person than you are.
Yep.
And I got their iced green tea, which is not as exciting. Boring. I know, it's lame.
Okay, we are coming up upon the, are we jumping into this?
Well, I don't know. I thought we could do a shout out real quick.
Oh, okay.
Or we can do that at the end.
No, do the shout out. I'll just drive around a little bit.
Okay. So, we decided that we would read off any emails that we get or iTunes reviews, anything like that.
I mean, it's going to take years to get through all of them.
Oh, God. I mean, there are so many reviews.
But we want to honor our fans.
It's true. So, yeah, I think we're gonna read one of our iTunes reviews for today.
I'm going to let you read because I'm driving.
Yes, agreed. Okay. So, I am going to read one of our iTunes reviews. Yeah. This one is from Britstick 2.0.
Britstick 2.0.
Britstick 2.0. Shout out to Britstick.
Britstick, woo woo!
She says, amazing! Exclamation point.
Nice.
5 stars. Thanks for that, Britstick. She says, I love the concept of driving around town talking about murder. I check almost daily for new episodes. Both hosts are hilarious. So that was Britstick's review. Thank you, Britstick 2.0.
Thank you. We only had to pay her a little bit to say that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, thank you. That was a very nice review.
If you guys want a shout out,
send in a review. Or there's always an email too. You can just email us 417hmt@gmail.com and just tell us that way as well. Or if you just want to say hey or give suggestions or ask questions, you can always. Or
we're awful. No, don't do that.
I mean, I'll give a shout out to somebody who tells us we're awful.
Oh, it'll be so fun. It'll be like, who does the mean tweets?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Is it Kimmel?
Yes, I think so. So, I mean, just be honest with us.
Yeah.
And we'll give you a shout out either way.
Okay.
Even if you're an asshole.
Well, we'll see. If you're a funny asshole, you will get better chances.
Good point.
Yeah. Okay. So, what else on the list?
I think that's it.
All the
for now.
housekeeping for
I
the
think
moment?
so for the moment.
Okay.
That is it.
All right. So, we are in the neighborhood of our next crime. This is actually a double homicide. We are in the area of the Primrose neighborhood. So that is kind of between Battlefield and Primrose. If you know where the Primrose Shopping Center is, it's kind of back behind there. This is actually the neighborhood that I grew up in. So I was born at a certain time in the 70s, and in this kind of on Holly Circle. Actually, here, I'm going to turn on this road because this is where our house was.
Yeah.
And I say was because this church is slowly taking over this.
Oh, yeah, they are.
So, see where this entrance is?
Yes.
That's where our house was.
Wow.
I know.
Oh, God.
It's actually real sad.
Yeah, it
if you ask me.
is.
So, I think they are trying to actually buy all of
this
these
whole
houses.
little
yeah.
cul-de-sac area.
Yeah, which makes me real sad. But anyway, that is where my house used to be.
Nice.
So, right across here is Green Meadows Pool.
Yeah.
People.
We got some people swimming today.
I went there every single day
Hell
of
yeah,
my
you
childhood. Lived there.
City pool.
I went to the pool so much that my hair turned green. I'm not even kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was bright green hair, people, and not back in the when it's now in style to have green hair. It was not in style to have green hair.
No, not pool green hair.
No.
And everybody knew too, like the girl that showed up
with the green hair.
The green hair.
I meant to turn there.
Yeah.
Okay, so someone's gonna now officially think we're creepy because I've.
Oh yeah, we've driven down this street
just a couple times.
Just a couple times.
Okay,
Holding a.
So this neighborhood, these houses were built. This particular area we're in right now, probably I would say the 60s.
Yes.
And they're very well maintained. This is a really nice neighborhood. I know it's a lot of people, like when a house goes on the market in this area, it sells pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Because people want it. It's just conveniently located.
Yeah, it's also just kind of, you already kind of gave the description, but it's just southeast of Battlefield Mall.
Yeah.
Kind of behind all of that. Really nice streets, wide streets. Big yards.
Mature trees.
That
means they don't say fart jokes.
Right. They don't laugh at boobs.
Nope.
Which
is so boring.
So boring.
Whatever. Okay, so we are going to turn now here on Luster.
Yeah. And I guess we can go ahead and introduce the case.
Okay.
Right?
You do
because we kind of have to
I'm going to look
explain.
for the street.
I think we passed it already.
Oh, we did?
I think so. Do you have it pulled up on maps?
No. I thought I knew exactly where it was.
We should probably do that.
I thought it was further up here.
Maybe it is. I did see the street. It might be one of those. You know how Springfield likes to...
Yeah, I thought it was up here.
There will be a street, and then it splits off, and then it
this
connects again.
Next neighborhood up here.
So you wanted to make a right.
Yeah,
just
right
then.
here. No.
Yes, yeah, that'll work. Sorry,
No.
guys, happening right now. Yeah, do you see where we are right now? Okay.
No, but I'll double back.
Here, no, you're good.
Okay.
Just follow that. All right. So this is the case there was a double homicide in 2014 of Gary and Jan. Is it Terrell?
Terrell is how they pronounced it.
So this was a I already said double homicide. Sorry guys, we're distracted. We're trying to find the house.
Yeah. Okay, we've got it. You know what's funny? I didn't even know the street went through.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. You learn something new every day.
These homes seem newer.
That's why I knew by looking at the front of their house that was in the date line.
Yes.
That it was not part of the original. This was built, I believe, even when I was in high school.
I was gonna say this looks 90s-ish.
Yeah, it's definitely 90s. That's it right there.
That's it right there.
Okay, rose bushes are still there.
Yeah.
Is it for sale?
It is.
Okay, people, it's for sale. You too could buy it. Do you want to live in a home where 2 people were horrendously murdered? We should pull it up and see if they list that on there.
We could.
Do they have to list that?
I don't know if they have to or not. I wonder if that's a... But it is a very nice...
It is nice.
A
very
nice
nice. You know, you can see all the gardens,
Wow.
and they talk about how they like to garden together, and you know, brick home. It's very
Wow.
nice. It
Very
is
well
understated, which we'll get into their fortune, if you will.
Yes.
They were pretty well off, but they lived modestly.
Yes,
so
they did.
They were not showing it off
Right.
by any means. So, okay.
But
Well,
it's a-
for sale. Let's look that up.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. So, as always, I think what we'll do
Yep.
is we'll find a spot to park
Mhm.
where we're not creepers.
Let's
We're-
just park in the driveway.
Let's just
Say
pull
we're-
in.
What if
No.
we got a showing? Let's call the realtor and go in. Okay, no.
Shut it down. But also, yes.
I
we're
kinda
doing
wanna
that.
do
But also,
it.
we totally are not going to do that.
We're not going to.
We're
but
not
I want to.
gonna do it.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to find a spot to park probably...
We can park up here
What are
in
you
Primrose.
thinking? Yeah. And we'll be right back.
We'll be right
and
back.
We'll get to this case.
We're going to call the realtor.
Yep.
Bye. Hi, Amy.
Hey, Sarah.
Do you ever feel like you've got to have some hand-cut leather jewelry?
Hell yeah, I do.
I thought so. Well, boy, do I have something for you.
What's that?
Serendipity Designs.
For real?
For real.
What's it called?
Serendipity Designs.
Okay.
She's got a website. She's on Facebook. She's on the Instagram. You need to check her out. And I think you even get like 10% off if you use the code MURDER
Hell yeah.
at checkout. So go to serendipitydesigns.com and use the code MURDER for 10% off.
How do you spell serendipitydesigns.com?
SARAHNDIPITY designs.com.
I'm there now.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay,
Right.
and we're back.
We just met with the realtor. Just kidding. We didn't.
We did not.
But guys, we want to.
Oh, man. Really bad.
You guys could do it for us.
You could do it.
Any realtor friends out there?
If you have connections.
I actually do have realtor friends. What am I thinking? Okay. Anyway, we're going to get down to business now.
Yep, here we go.
Okay. As per usual, we like to start out with the obituary. So this is a combined obituary for Gary and Jan. So it starts out, quote, "In the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years." Abraham Lincoln. No better quote from this historical American leader, greatly respected by Gary, summarizes the lives of Gary and Jan Terrell. They lived life to the fullest and as one. They were inseparable and treasured each other. If any positive thing can come of this great loss, it is that their lives on earth ended together and neither had, I might cry,
Yeah.
neither had to bear the grief of living without the other. The ever-present pain that they endured with the loss of their son, Jimmy, which
They had lost.
they lost a son at a young age from brain cancer, I think.
Yeah.
Many years ago has ended because they are with him. The family wishes to thank everyone for your prayers, support, and presence during this difficult time. So Gary was born February 7th, 1954. He graduated from Mountain Grove High School in 1972, got his BS in secondary ed with a major in comprehensive social studies from MSU. Back then it was called Southwest Missouri State University.
Yes.
Actually, it probably even wasn't university. So when I was little, it was just SMS.
So,
It wasn't a university. They didn't add
Really?
the U until like in the 90s, I think.
Really?
Yeah, because then they had a jingle and it went Southwest Missouri State University after they added the university. You're welcome for that, people.
Yeah.
It is ingrained in my mind. Okay, so he later obtained a master's degree and specialist degree in education administration from Missouri State and a doctorate of education from the University of Arkansas. Gary began his 30-year public education teaching career in the fall of 1975. It's a really good year. Mountain Grove. He taught American history. He held administrative positions of transportation director, assistant middle school principal, and assistant superintendent in charge of all support services in the district at his retirement in 2005. While he taught in Mountain Grove during the day, he also taught college classes at night for Southwest Baptist University in Mountain View and Bolivar, Drury University in Kabul, Ava, and Springfield, William Woods University, and after retirement, MSU. He never stopped teaching, learning, and researching his passion, American history, and more recently, Roman history. He obviously, and we'll get into that, enjoyed collecting antiques, precious metals, and gemstones.
Yes.
So Jan was born January 24th, 1953 in Kirksville. She graduated from Lynn County High School in 1971 and completed her BS in Library Science from Truman State University, back then called Northeast Missouri State University. She taught at New Cambria High School, Macon High School, and Louisiana High School before coming to Mountain Grove to be the high school librarian. Then she became a full-time homemaker and Avon representative, which she maintained until her death. Even after moving to Springfield in the early 90s, she continued her Avon route in Mountain Grove. In recent years, she also prepared tax returns, God bless her, and volunteered at the Southwest Missouri Office on Aging. Gary and Jan were married May 5th, 1984. Gary and Jan both loved to garden. Gary prided in his roses, which we just saw when we drove by. Watched and named the birds, squirrels, shrews, chipmunks, and a possum that lived in his backyard. Jan had a separate kitchen in their home to can and process the year's produce. She loved to quilt, sew, and knit. Her latest project was weaving knitting hats for oncology patients at St. Anthony's Hospital. These people, such good people. She had a large collection ready to distribute at the time of her death. She also enjoyed growing all kinds of flowers and helping Gary name all the critters in the backyard. He left his pet hamster, Sweetie, to mourn his death. Poor Sweetie. Gary and Jan loved their children very much. They were the most important part of their lives. When learning that their daughter Jessica was getting married, Jan was overjoyed to finally get the grandchildren she always wanted.
This is heartbreaking.
It is. One of the greatest joys of their lives was the birth of their son, Jimmy, who only to become the greatest pain they would ever endure with Jimmy's death at age 3 from a brain tumor. Gary's dedication to his family was evident because when learning of Jimmy's disease, he built a home and moved to Springfield so Jimmy could get the care and services he needed. After Jimmy's passing, not a day went by that Jan did not think of Jimmy and visualize what he would be doing if he were still there.
Awful.
We might need to take a minute.
Yeah, I'm like kind of. I actually didn't look at the obituary before now. Like I just knew they had it, but that, man.
Yep. All right, so let's get into this piece of shit that did this.
Yeah.
Guys, oops, sorry about that.
You don't have to throw your sunglasses around.
Pissed off.
She's like throwing stuff in the car. Okay, so this. We'll just kind of start. We'll walk through the incident and then the aftermath and all of that. This was the double homicide of Gary and Jan Terrell, April 30th, 2014. So this begins with their daughter, Jessica. She called the police for a well-being check on May 1st. So the very next day. The homicide happened on April 30th. May 1st, the daughter calls police for a well-being check. She had been trying to reach her parents over the phone. She lived in Oklahoma, and she couldn't get in touch. She says she talked to her mother, Jan, the day before, around 3 or so in the afternoon, and her dad, Gary, usually sent her a text every evening, and she never received one. She tried calling them repeatedly the following day and never got a response. So it just sounds like they were really close. They communicated daily. The fact that she, within not even 24 hours, is concerned about them tells you how often they communicated. So she calls the police for a well-being check. Again, she's out of state. So the officer arrives at the home. He can't make contact with anyone inside, but he says the doors and windows are locked and secured. He didn't notice anything suspicious. You can't just barge in, you know.
Can't?
No, I don't believe you can.
For a wellness check, like if you can't get a hold of him, that doesn't give you a reason to break in?
I don't think so. Right away.
Well, that needs to change.
Well, yeah.
Or maybe not. Or there might be a lot of broken doors.
Right.
Town.
That's what I'm right. If someone's just like, I'm worried about my kid, I haven't heard from him, and then the SWAT team comes busting in. Yeah. So they call the daughter back and they're like, hey, listen, the home seems secure. We didn't get a hold of anybody, but just like,
we don't see anything nefarious.
Right. So I guess that was not good enough. She's like still worried. She still cannot get in contact with them. So her and her, I think, fiance at the time.
Yeah.
She's like so freaked out already that they just leave and drive. It's like 5 hours.
5 hours.
5 hours away.
5 hours.
To just go see herself.
Yeah.
So they make it all the way from Oklahoma. They arrive, I think it's about 7 hours after the initial wellness check. She arrives at the house. She pulls up and opens the garage because she had her garage door opener and sees both of their cars in the garage.
Not good.
And she immediately is like,
nope.
This is bad. This is really, really bad. And she doesn't go in the house because she's just afraid.
Yeah. Which I think is really smart.
Yeah, I think I would have gone in.
Yeah.
Just being like, what's the deal, Mom and Dad? Like, what's going on? But she obviously had just this
horrible
sense.
feeling.
Yeah. And was smart enough to not do that. And so from the driveway, calls the police again, and basically is like, I don't want to go in. This is not good. You need to go in. Yeah. And gives them then permission to go into the house. Police... I think it was just like one car shows up, goes inside, and that is where he finds Jan. Is it Terrell?
Terrell.
Yeah, Jan Terrell's body downstairs. I believe they had a finished basement, and then he finds Gary's body upstairs. And so our sources are kind of from all over. We've got some newsletter snippets and some KY3 stuff, some various other articles, but there is the Dateline episode. I don't know what season it is. It's just, if you search The Collector was the title of the episode, Dateline. Yeah. So we're getting a lot of this from that as well, but she talks about, the daughter is interviewed in that episode, and she talks about how her and her fiance are just sitting in the driveway. And then the police officer doesn't come out because he's making calls and another police car shows up.
And another
police car shows up.
And another one. I mean, she's like 5 or 6 cop cars
and she's just still sitting in the driveway.
No one's telling her anything.
Right. And they probably have to be careful about that. I don't know the protocol of like what you have to do, but I immediately thought that too. I was like, someone this poor girl who's like
watching,
freaking out.
Well, and finally, I guess in the special, or according to her, one cop that showed up started putting up crime scene tape. Yes. And that's when she's like, hey,
what's going on?
Tell me what is going on.
Yeah.
And
he does, but he still doesn't even say. He says there are 2 deceased people in the house. Like, he still doesn't say right. Yeah. And he doesn't know at that point who it is.
Confirm.
So they discover that Gary was shot twice, and also beaten. And we'll talk about that. There was some evidence there. Yeah. And Jan was bludgeoned to death. They said had a large hole, I believe, in the back of her head.
Yeah, it was very obvious when they saw her.
Yes. And so we can talk about kind of these. Well,
so how did that happen? Like, was she killed first?
The Dateline did say they believe she was killed first because had the gunshots rung out, she would have like known or what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But why? Like, my question is, was Gary shot? Was he trying to run away? Did he bludgeon her because that's just what he thought to do at the time? It would be quiet.
It was an opportunity, a weapon of opportunity.
Right. It just,
like, did he go there with this in mind? Did it turn south? Because what we find out later is this person did not break in. No. This person either had their own way in or they were let in.
Right.
And you'll find out why.
But it's interesting to know, like, what actually happened, what went down, why was she bludgeoned to death so horribly.
Yep.
And he shot, and I don't know. Anyway, police, they initially think it was a home invasion gone wrong. Like someone robbed the place, killed these 2 people in here. But the house was full of collectibles and expensive items, and those were all still there.
Yeah, nothing was that they could tell that was gone. They noticed that a tornado shelter had been kind of tampered with, but
it was like a safe / tornado shelter thing, and they noticed some like scratches. Marks,
like someone had tried to get in, but
and they noticed that Gary's desk looked like somebody had kind of moved some stuff around or kind of rifled through, but everything was still there. So if it was a robbery, there was plenty of things they could have taken.
It was like valued at all of his collectibles with his coins and jewelry and gold and silver and all of this, like $500,000.
Something. Well, the daughter talks about how in the safe there were just gold bars.
Yeah.
Just gold bars laying around, which are worth, I mean, that's, there was a lot of stuff there.
I don't know if I read it or they said it on the show, but they said $500,000 worth of artifacts or something.
Right. So
just laying around, not in the safe. I mean, he had stuff in the safe, but the daughter didn't
know. There was, and if you watch the Dateline episode, the house, it reminds me of have you ever been to, usually it's usually an older person. They were not very old. I mean, they were like early 60s,
no, but
this was just full. I mean, packed.
There was not one empty space.
No. Wall-to-wall pictures, tables aligned on every wall with all kinds of knickknacks and it was full of things.
Things, including rugs, which I don't know why I happened to notice this, but if we're going to talk about the interior, why not? Like area rugs.
Yeah.
On back-to-back area rugs.
Back-to-back area rugs, which the rugs were probably collectible too.
Maybe,
I don't know.
Or just
they liked rugs. I don't know.
Sorry, I just had a slight heart attack.
We're parked and a car almost backed into us.
Yep, it's fine.
It's totally fine. Anyway, so they noticed this, and they noticed if this was a home invasion,
then they're dummies because
they
didn't take anything.
So they immediately start looking toward this is somebody who knew the Terrells. There was no forced entry into the home. Someone was let in,
right?
And then this happened. So then they kind of start investigating.
Okay, so of course when something like this happens, they're always going to investigate the people closest. So the investigation first started looking into the daughter.
Right.
They're she's the one who has access to the house.
Yep.
She's the one who knows
sole heir they talked about. There's she was the only kid. So, she would have had,
in the Dateline, you can see the actual police interviews of her and her fiance. And, they never asked for a lawyer. They never, any of that. They were just very forthcoming and maybe even a little naive about what was happening.
Yeah. And they're still in shock at that point.
Well, it's the next day.
Yeah.
They haven't even buried
they haven't even had the funeral, and they're answering questions,
So, they're looking into her. That they are ruled out pretty quickly, obviously. There was no motive, really, but she had access to all that anyway and didn't take anything.
Right.
So.
And I think someone said they brought up the fact that a lot of times people that are involved with a horrific crime don't want to see it.
Right. So
the fact that she didn't go in.
Which I thought was smart, but they're looking at it well, you're guilty if you didn't want to go in.
Right. If you automatically knew something was up. So I think, it kind of makes sense why they would look there. But anyway, yeah.
So then, of course, they looked at other family members and friends, which led to, they looked at all the people at the schools that he taught, or was a superintendent, and his secretary and all these people. And so the more people they started talking to, they got in touch with his presumed best friend. His name is Mark Porter. He's 53. They've been friends for 20 years. They worked together.
He was a superintendent at
Mountain
Grove
or Home.
Mountain Grove. So he was superintendent. I think Gary at one point was assistant superintendent. So that's kind of how they knew each other.
So they bring him in for questioning, and they just immediately think, okay, he's hiding something. Now, you can watch the police interview, and I was kind of, I mean, at this point, I already knew what was happening.
Right.
But I'm watching him, and I personally think he seems pretty chill.
I thought that too.
Other
like,
than his foot was, did you see his foot?
Yes.
It was shaking.
Kind of wobbling.
But I'm like, a lot of people do that.
Right. I remember as I'm watching it, which I recommend, Google the collector Dateline. You have to watch it in like multiple parts.
I found the whole thing.
Did you?
Yeah. You just had to scroll down farther.
Yeah, touche.
Yep.
But anyway, I kept thinking like how cool and collected this guy is after knowing what he had just done and seeing the images of, like, they didn't show, but they showed, I mean, on Dateline they showed I mean enough of
like,
them.
I mean, not to be graphic,
Blood
although
splatters.
I did kind of question this. Okay, so they're showing blood splatter on the wall and on artifacts, and the footage of it seems very professional. It matches like the rest of the footage of the Dateline episode, but then you'll see a couple of other video footage that looks like a handheld camera that a police officer would actually use. So I don't know if that other stuff was staged.
I mean,
a dramatization,
based
if you
on
will.
what he. Well, so can we talk? Because we kind of forgot about that. Did we bring up the?
Well, no,
the
because that wasn't immediately known. Remember, they found the pieces.
Yeah, so I guess we could go back, or that's in the investigation too. But when around Jan's body,
were these
they
little
found these little white flakes, fragments of something, and there were a few around Gary's body as well. So they like gathered those up to have those analyzed.
Yeah. Which turns out, we might as well just say, turns out to be one of his very, very rare elephant tusks.
Walrus. Giant, and it was
and
giant.
by walrus, I mean by elephant, I mean walrus.
Yes. Same thing. Same exact thing.
Yep.
But this thing is massive.
It's
just
huge.
Like a huge.
And it's engraved. It's from, I forget what time period.
Yeah.
It's real old.
Real old and worth a lot. And it was,
apparently,
like you said, a weapon of opportunity.
Yeah, it was
just
because
like
the daughter said it sat out on the table.
Yes. And I think at one point they noticed it was gone. It was like it was such a centerpiece, I guess. It was such a thing that that she noticed that this thing was gone. So yeah, they immediately become suspicious.
Yeah. So back to they're interviewing him, and so Porter starts just emitting things like, oh yeah, I was supposed to meet with Gary at McDonald's near Battlefield on the night that he was killed, and he never showed up. And so the cop was like, okay. And he's like, how long did you wait? Oh, about 45 minutes. And he's like, okay. So you wait 45 minutes and you don't call him or text him and say, hey, buddy,
you immediately
where
drive to the house.
Yeah.
So Mark puts himself at the home the night of the murder voluntarily.
Yep.
And I would think, here's my thought on that. Sorry, and I'm jumping in a bunch. But my thought is he knew what he did.
Yeah.
And he's wondering, maybe, did someone see my car?
Right.
So now he's
like,
so now I gotta think of like, well, we were supposed to meet, and then I couldn't get a hold of him, so I showed up.
Yep. So he's like, I have to put myself there,
right,
in case someone saw my car or whatever. So he thinks he's being smart, but he's a dumbass.
But that immediately just sets off some red, like, okay,
they're like, oh, okay,
yeah.
And so, then he said he left the Terrell's house and went to his job back at the IBM offices. So now this guy works for IBM with a pretty damn good job.
He was making, I think, 6 figures. Yeah, they said.
So
plus had his superintendent retirement.
Right. And I guess he was a collector of some things as well.
I think started to kind of get into it through Gary.
Yeah. So then as they dug deeper, they learned that Mark Porter owed Gary hundreds of thousands of dollars for a loan.
Or had asked him for a loan.
Or asked him. We don't know. We can't get the...
I do know he asked for a loan. There was also something in there, and that's why I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Had he borrowed money from Gary before? Yeah.
I'm going to say yes.
But they did find out there was like a letter or something where he formally requested $250,000, asked Gary if he would loan him the money, and they didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
they
find that out.
Right?
They find that out.
So at the scene of the crime, they did find a rubber, what do you call them? Like a latex glove.
Yep.
Okay. So, the daughter confirmed, no, my parents never used those. There was no reason for it to be. It was out in the middle of the room, blah, blah, blah. So they, of course, collect that, and they get some DNA off of it.
And it did not match Gary's, so they knew it was...
Yes, and the daughter and the fiance, they tested them. So it didn't match anybody they knew. So the police decided they're going to follow Porter.
Well, they also, another thing is they actually find out that the night of the murder, or the very next day, Mark went to a pawn shop.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
Because there's footage of that too, people.
Yeah.
This dumb fucker takes these coins that are missing from the Terrells.
Yep.
That the daughter confirmed. Yes, there's this bag.
He had this huge ass bucket of old silver coin. Yeah.
And so there's footage of him, and I love the pawn shop or the coin guy in the interview.
Yeah.
He's just you can tell in his face, he's like, this dumb motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's on camera. So it's on camera. The whole transaction is there. He gets $18,000
worth of silver coins.
Yep.
The day after the murder.
Day after.
And best part is that I don't know if with these types of transactions you have to leave a copy. But he photocopies
his ID.
So
right there.
There's Mark Porter's face on camera.
With his ID.
Miraculously getting $18,000 worth of silver coins that are missing from the Terrells.
That's one of the only thing that's missing from the Terrells.
And the dumbass leaves a latex glove on the floor next to Jan Terrell's body.
Yes. So the police are like, okay, we've got to get some physical evidence.
Yeah.
So they start following Porter, and they follow him for 3 months, thinking they are going to, he's going to
cigarette butt, water
bottle, blah, blah. And they keep following. And every time he'll get a drink, he'll take the straw with him.
So he knows.
So they're
right?
Okay, does he know we're onto him, or what's going on? So finally, an undercover cop follows him into a
Jiffy Lube
or something like that, and strikes up a conversation with Porter, and he has a cup of coffee, and he leaves it there. Bum, busted. So there they have their DNA, and it matches. Is a match.
So the match of the DNA with all of the other things.
So at that point, everything was pretty circumstantial until you get positive DNA.
Yep.
Puts him at the scene.
When they asked, when they were kind of suspicious of him, they went to the daughter, and they went to, I think, Gary's brother, and they asked questions like, what do you know about Mark Porter? What do you know? And that's where they found out that he owed the money. But then the daughter brought up the fact that they were supposed to be pretty close friends.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Terrells let a lot of people into their house.
Probably
and he was
not.
someone who had access.
Yeah.
He had been there before. Yeah. They knew that. So obviously they were friends.
Yeah.
And she said he didn't show up to the visitation or the funeral. And that it was enough that, after, it was probably not something that was noticed immediately or at that moment. But when someone asks you, when the police start asking, you're going to go, wait a minute. He didn't show up to the, and if you were friends, so that was another weird.
And the secretary, she was kind of a quirky little thing to watch. But her interview, she was like, I always didn't like him.
His
vibe.
Secretary, right? Yeah. She ended up quitting.
Yeah.
I think. Worked with him and then left because she was
creeped out by him. She was like, I don't know if he's a psychopath or what. She did not like his vibe at all.
Yeah.
And that, you got to listen to your gut feeling on people.
It's true. So we kind of already went through how they were connected. They believed that Porter had some gambling issues, that he owed money, that he needed money, because this is a guy, again, he has his superintendent pension, which is,
even though it's a small district, I'm sure it's not.
Well, and he also moved, I think he left Mountain Grove and then was in Wright City, which is
I don't know where that is.
St. Louis-ish.
It's the wrong city.
Anyway, so he's got superintendent pension plus 6 figures
at
IBM.
Yeah.
So regardless of what you're making, he's okay. And the fact that he's needing to get a $250,000
things are not
loan,
okay.
Right.
That doesn't add up.
It does not add up. So, they
arrest
him. The judge, I believe, there was, I I cannot remember. I don't even know if I put this on here, but they, it might have been in that other thing I had you print, but the judge did not let him post bond, like post bail or whatever.
Well, what's great is when I'm watching the footage, is the judge, not the Mountjoy who did the trial, but it must have been the pretrial judge, Mark Powell. I used to babysit his kids.
What?
So he's in the background. I'm like, I know him.
That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
I know.
So yeah, they were like, everybody was just like, you're a piece of shit. And the judge is like, I'm not letting this asshole out. Like, fuck that. Mm-hmm. So he's sitting in jail. His defense attorney
is the illustrious D. Wampler.
D. Wampler.
Now, people not from this area, if you don't know D. Wampler, what do we even say? If there's a high profile case,
any high profile case, he's a defense attorney.
He's defense.
And he's gonna take it just because. Yeah. Like he
likes to be in the.
Yeah, he wants his name next to all of that. He wants his name in all these articles and
his televangelist hair.
Oh my god, yeah,
so bad.
Yep. Google him. D. Wampler. D-E-E.
Wampler. Mm-hmm. And he drives a Mercedes in town that says Defense.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Defense. Also, just for the Springfield area, you know, like at some point we will probably cover the Haley Owens, Craig Wood case, but he defended Craig Wood as well. So again, just anybody that can like jump on and get his name out there, like that's D. Wampler.
Like the most heinous, the better for him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know how he sleeps at night.
I don't either.
Yeah.
So.
Trial. Porter pleads guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder and agreed to 2 consecutive life sentences to avoid the death penalty.
Yeah, and this was actually after they tried to kind of they tried to make a case like this was not the guy, whatever, and then when it started going downhill, he decided, like, they work a deal. And they're like, well, listen, if you don't want to be put to death, you can plea bargain kind of thing. So the judge gives him the maximum sentence. They changed charges from first degree to second degree. The judge was like, he's like, that is not punishment enough. I wish I could give you more. If ever you're asked by parole officials if you're a good candidate to be released once you've served the minimum, the judge is like, you will never, you're gonna be there the whole damn time.
You're a piece of shit.
You are a big old piece of shit.
Yep. And the thing that gets me is, like, in not anything I read, not anything I saw, nothing. He shows zero remorse.
No, nothing. Not in the courtroom scenes from the Dateline episode. Not in the... I could not get over how nonchalant he seemed in the police questioning and at the pawn shop. Like, there's no... I mean, there's never a reason for this, but there's just... I just don't understand.
He doesn't even act sad or even annoyed. I mean, he just doesn't show anything other than being glib.
Right, and it just makes you wonder, like, it seems the way this kind of played out, it doesn't seem, and maybe he did have it planned. Yeah. Like, I am going to do this. It seems to me that he showed up to have a conversation or maybe ask for the money again or maybe even have a heated discussion. I don't know. Like, it doesn't seem like this was premeditated.
Yeah. Did they ever find the gun? Because they showed in the Dateline and talk about how
Gary had
tons of guns.
Everywhere.
He liked his
just,
guns
laying
in
around.
Drawers.
And I think he collected guns too.
Right.
And they were just like laying around, just in drawers.
So did they ever find the gun that did it? Was it Mark's gun or was it Gary's gun?
They did mention they thought it might have been a gun at the house, but maybe he didn't have every gun registered. You know, not everybody does. Especially if it's like I don't know. Stuff, but it just the way their bodies were.
It seemed very surprised.
Yes. Or at least, so I don't know, like, you would think someone who did something like that would then later show remorse or not, this was I snapped or I don't know, or maybe it was totally planned. I know. It just doesn't seem like it was.
I want to know, like, did he go to the door and they let him in and then they were hanging out and then it happened? Or did he have his own way into the house and surprise them?
I'm guessing they let him in. I mean, I'm guessing it was like a...
And Jan was just downstairs, like, doing her canning thing? Or
or maybe quilting, doing the stuff. It's horrible.
It's
like,
awful.
it's absolutely horrible. And it just seems so angry and personal.
Yeah.
Like the way he beat them to
anytime they
death
talk
with
about beatings like that, it's personal.
Yeah.
Like, anyone can shoot somebody from far away. It's not so personal. But when you're right up on somebody doing that and stabbing, they say it's very personal.
Yeah.
So maybe he was jealous of them.
It's just...
I don't know.
Ugh, it's sick. So that was so the trial was like a year later.
Yeah.
Or the plea bargain.
Yes.
He pled guilty in August 26th,
16th.
I think was the article that I found that was in 2015. So 1 year later, he pleads guilty. And then a year after that,
the daughter sues Porter.
Yeah, she takes him to civil court.
Yeah, wrongful death suit. Because of the murder, she was deprived of services, support, comfort, companionship, instruction, guidance, counseling, and training from her parents. The lawsuit claims that Tyrell / Murray, who's Murray?
Oh, that's the daughter. That was her,
okay.
Yeah.
Is entitled to recover such sums that will fairly and justly compensate for her injuries and damages. It does not designate a specific dollar amount the family was seeking. It just says amount should be enough to punish Porter and deter other would-be killers in the future. Porter was obviously in prison, so it was going to be served to him there. It takes months or years to reach a resolution. As of April last year, Dee Wampler.
So this was so April last year of 2015.
Yeah.
So I thought this was amusing that before he pleads guilty, I think he got different attorneys for the plea bargain because Dee Wampler was not his attorney.
Nope. He's like, you're guilty? Bye.
Well, no, is because
he's got no money.
Yeah, it says here, this was according to this article, it says Dee Wampler quit representing him because Porter
stopped paying him.
Yeah, stopped paying him. So does he have money to even take or assets?
Where's his six figures? I mean, I'm guessing that all completely went to pay Dee Wampler. And
probably. His hair. It was Dee Wampler's hairspray fund.
I'm pretty sure he wears hair.
Yeah, he does.
Makeup.
Google it. He's gross.
Or I'm not going to tell you the restaurant because it's one of my favorite restaurants, but he goes there almost every day for lunch.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me later.
I will.
I want to know.
Okay.
But he, Mark Porter was married, had 2 children.
Yep.
So I'm just wondering.
Like those poor people.
I know, God. Like, and it's
how about being married to that
and finding out? She's on the. Again, I recommend watch The Collector, Dateline. Because
she's on there.
They have a. They talk to her. As well,
and she's like, you can hear kind of like trying to wrap her mind around it, like because the police are like, he was at the scene, he was blah blah blah, and she's like, no, but well, that's circumstantial. It's circumstantial. Like she's trying to like find an answer,
herself. Right? Which you would. Yeah. Like you would just be like, no, there has to be a different explanation for this. Like, what a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And it's so sad. Like it's and horrible. And I can't. The daughter, she gets married after her parents.
The year after she has her uncle walk her down the aisle. But imagine your wedding day.
Just everything in her life is going to be, if she has children, like the grandkids that Jan was so excited about and all that. Like, it's just horrible. It's horrible.
For no fucking reason. Son of a bitch.
Piece of shit.
Yep.
Anyway,
all right, well,
so that is
joyful note.
Yeah. That is the case that we covered.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
On that
Get
note,
the list. We've got...
we don't want to forget what we're supposed to talk about here. So thanks for listening, guys.
Yes. We really, really appreciate our listeners that tune in every week.
Really, we do.
We really do. We are doing this for fun because Amy and I always talk about this anyway, so might as well be stupid for everybody else to hear.
Exactly.
But we just really appreciate it, and we know there's lots of things out there you guys could listen to, so we appreciate you listening to us.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yep.
You can always reach us at Twitter. It is at Murder Tour.
Wait, I'm going to try it. Murder Tour.
What?
I did it!
Say it. You start it. Say it. Twitter.
You can find us on Twitter at Murder Tour.
Yeah! You can email us always. Please email us, guys. Ask us questions if you think there's a murder that you
want to hear that we're not going to know about.
Yeah, or even if you think we are, just be like, make sure you do that. Like, just drop us a line. 417-HMT